Hello and welcome to Small Business 21st Century and today's segment of Build Your Difference. My name is Pierre Walters, co-founder and CEO of Brand Desk, where we work directly with visionaries to help build successful businesses and memorable brands. And in this episode, we're discussing false narratives and how it affects our businesses. As an owner of a business that works with companies of all sizes, I've learned how meaningful our relationships are over the years. One would think, when you say relationships, that you mean personal relationships, but no, that's not correct. You see, we have relationships with our coworkers, our managers, our consumers, and with the public. And in marketing, the one area that you learn to establish is the relationship between the brand and the audience or consumer. You are forming and nurturing that relationship with the content that you produce and the reputation that you establish. The one question you're tasked to answer for the consumer is, why should they buy from you? Or what problem are you solving for them? Now, your relationship just isn't with the consumer. It's with your employees, your vendors, and your investors. Our relationships are often tied to our reputation. And like with any relationship, you can find yourself in a quagmire of miscommunication and misunderstandings. And this can often diminish your reputation and break trust. It takes time to establish trust and reputation. Business owners are not just responsible for brand growth. No, supply management or even consumer demand, they hold a responsibility to those with whom they impact daily. And this impact requires trust and authenticity. And if you were to undertake leadership training, the number one question that is asked is, what makes a good leader? The answers vary in response to integrity, willingness to listen, trust, honesty, and authenticity. So, let's take a deeper dive into trust, false narratives, and how they can negatively affect your business. Now, not all false narratives are intentional. For example, many business owners understand their product, but not necessarily the administrative side of the business, which in turn can lead them to greatly overestimate profit or to establish an improper budgeting system. This is where due diligence is required when you begin your business, as you must understand the rules and regulations and all areas in which you must be compliant. One such area is knowing classifications when it comes to employees or freelancers. So, employees. This means that you are both responsible for tax withholding and freelancers are paid through a 1099 system. However, if you utilize a freelancer, then you must allow them their schedules or provide them with tools. Each situation is unique, so do take the time to fully understand the proper classification and how improper classification can affect your business. Now, one of the quickest ways to lose the trust of your team members is to pay them incorrectly. Your staff needs a sense of psychological safety within your organization to perform at its best. Now, not paying correctly can greatly diminish your team members' psychological safety within the organization. It causes doubt to set in. And not only can it be detrimental to your staff, but the fines for misclassifications can also be high and can cause a serious impact on your budget. And while not all false narratives are intentional, it does take due diligence on behalf of the owner and the management team to understand their roles fully. As an owner or manager within the organization, you are also considered a leader and a guide that others can follow. Mission statements and company vision have to be communicated so that your team knows exactly how they are contributing to the organization and how they are helping the consumer. But without properly addressing your mission and vision, you are a ship at sea with no clear direction. And this can be turbulent for employees. It also means that you have no clear communication on how exactly your product or service is there to help the consumer. Leadership is about inspiring and creating movement forward within the ranks. It must be felt from the bottom up and carried throughout the organization. And this can't be done if the culture of the organization is rocky from the start. While there is nothing glamorous about rules and regulations, compliance and complying, these are all good ways to help establish a strong culture. You know, according to HBR, a great company culture is built and reinforced by its people, meaning you, your peers, and your teammates, as well as your leadership team. Understand that you don't have to be a manager to help create company culture. Your employees are just as much a part of company culture as you are. And as a tightly woven interconnection or ecosystem, it is built on trust. And that trust, when broken, can be hard to reestablish. Let's take a look at an example of a false narrative and how it shattered the trust within the organization. WeWork, one such example. The improper valuation of the company and poor business decisions led to a huge scandal with investors, later filing suit against the then CEO. And we expect accountability from the people with whom we do business. This false narrative led to a scandal, the CEO being ousted from the organization, and the company took a hit and has had to work really hard to recover ever since. Going forward, this greatly affected the reputation of the company. How many people look at past reputation blunders or scandals? When a brand name is brought up that has undergone a scandal, it is the one thing that we often remember about the company. And you may then have trouble finding investors, consumers, or employees willing to take a chance on your company. It's imperative that we act honestly and with open communication in our dealings. And when you choose to not do so, the risk to your reputation is higher than if you had been truthful from the start. Now stay tuned as we continue on this subject of false narratives and the critical need for transparency. Stay with us.
I think it goes around.
Come on, buddy.
I'm here for you.
Oh, it's gonna be great. Look, look.
Why is this so hard?
Let's go. We gotta get you a practice.
I read it. Look, and it said.
And welcome back to Build Your Difference. Today we're discussing trust once it is broken. And before the break, we discussed the importance of company culture, strong leadership, and how we can inadvertently create a false narrative. And now, we're going to take a look at false narratives and other examples of businesses that have crafted false narratives and the lessons they've had to learn. Now, you remember, our reputation is what is on the line the most when we start and operate a business. People want to deal with an organization or a person who is known for their integrity and their honesty. And as a business or individuals, we are a brand, every single one of us. And what we do in our private lives can be just as much under scrutiny as our brand itself. And while we may not think a decision we made 10 years prior would have an impact on our lives today, it often does. As we progress through life, our values and what is important to us can change. We learn to establish a set of operating standards for ourselves, and this is often communicated to the team or the organization with which we work. It's our branding. And when you consider your personal branding, then you realize just how your actions and decisions impact your day-to-day life. Many famous brands have been started because of personal brand reputation. For example, Kris Jenner, or any family member of the Kardashians for that matter. Influencer marketing has grown dramatically because of people's abilities to use their branding to help support a brand, a product, or a service. Personal branding often involves an element of storytelling to capture the attention of your audience or investors, as was the case with Elizabeth Holmes and Theranos. Now, she obtained millions in investment funds and had several high-profile backers interested in her product. But Elizabeth didn't have the technology to support the product. She used her charisma and ability to tell a story to gain support. In essence, she created a false narrative, a false story. And while some have argued that Elizabeth isn't fully culpable because the investors should have asked for some form of accountability in the product that they were backing, the truth is that the lesson is that it's always best to operate on the side of honesty. Creating a vision is one thing, but make sure that your steps to progress are transparent, that they're testable, and that they're based on reality. Taking the time to research the information and perform due diligence, taking the time to understand the brand or the person you are engaging with is critical and can offer you a sense of self-protection. With every person out there competing and new technologies taking shape daily, it is easy to become enamored with the what-ifs of a possibility instead of a reality. All of us are capable of having winning thoughts and ideas that can really change the shape of our businesses or even the world. But basing your ideas on reality takes the insight of those who have been on this path. And if you're not confident your idea is able to sustain the weight of what you intend, then have a mentor or business coach that can offer you help in really asking the tough questions. Again, we're looking at the false narratives people have created and how it was destroyed, trust or someone's personal brand. We are all capable of telling ourselves our own false narratives and believing those narratives. But when you have to be accountable, not just to yourself, but to employees, investors, or consumers, then you have the responsibility to hold yourself to a higher degree of integrity. Another example of a false narrative is FTX, a cryptocurrency derivatives trading platform. Now, we're talking about an area of the financial industry where the regulations are extremely high, and you must protect people's personal information such as, social security, date of birth, and banking information. But with technology, we are all becoming more aware that there has been an increase in identity theft globally. This company promised a secure trading platform that was to be more reliable and secure than a traditional bank. Now, this is tricky because a company that purports that they can offer safe and reliable trading can face severe lawsuits and the government taking action to step in to offer settlements and restitution to people who have lost their money and assets. When the economics and financial industry are impacted, then the fallout is going to happen across many sectors, and someone will have to step in to help mitigate the loss. While the intentions may have been there to offer a safe and secure, reliable trading platform, the reality was that it wasn't. This left people questioning the credibility of the company and the people operating the company. Now, more than ever, we must hold ourselves to a high degree of accountability and integrity. Our brand and our reputation ride on this fact. False narratives can border on ethics and operating ethically. While we want to be the first to market and beat the competition, there can be more at stake than just being the first to market. You gotta understand the business landscape. You gotta understand your consumers and understand how, if you fail in what you're promising, how it will affect the greater good and not just your bottom line. You know, ideas and brands, they fail constantly. Don't let a false narrative stop you from realizing your dreams. If you are uncertain about your vision or dreams, then find a reliable source to help you assess the viability of what you want to accomplish. Find a partner, a mentor, a coach, or someone who will consult with you and help you realize your big vision. Stay with us. There's much more when we come back.
See that cute little dog in the pet store window? Chances are it came from a puppy mill, a breeding facility that forces caged, neglected, and often sick dogs to churn out puppy after puppy to be sold for profit. Meanwhile, millions of wonderful, healthy pets end up in animal shelters. This leads to the killing of more than 9,000 by the end of today. But with one simple choice, you can help, just by deciding to adopt instead of purchase your next pet. Animal shelters are full of amazing pets looking for a home. When you adopt your new best friend, not only are you saving a life, you're taking a stand against puppy mills. Now imagine sharing the joy of adopting with your friends. Seeing the smart choice and impact you've made, they adopt their next pets and share with 5 of their friends who share with 5 more. Before long, thousands get involved. Pet stores stop selling dogs from puppy mills, and even more lives are saved. And with your help, we can save them all. Visit bestfriends.org to learn more.
How do you know? No cages, no crates, no tie stalls, no painful living conditions. How do you know? No hormones or antibiotics in feed. How can you know? Your choice is wholesome and humane. Did you know choosing natural foods raised in humane conditions promotes farm animal well-being as well as yours and your family? Choose Certified Humane. Certified Humane certification and labeling program assures customers that when they purchase products with the Certified Humane logo, those animals were raised healthy and humanely. When you choose Certified Humane, everyone benefits. For more information about Certified Humane and its benefits to animals, farmers, and consumers, visit their website at www.certifiedhumane.org. That's www.certifiedhumane.org.
Today's show is about false narratives and broken trust. Welcome back to Build Your Difference. Now, before the break, we discussed several examples of false narratives. Let's focus on what you can do if you have created a false narrative and broken the trust with your consumers, your team members, or your investors. First, understand your role as a leader. Understand that by investing in yourself with leadership training and communication skills, you will become better equipped to navigate the ups and downs of owning a business. And when you learn to zero in on what you want to communicate and how you want to communicate it, you can do so with astounding clarity. Know what type of leader you are. And if you aren't sure, study the different leadership ideologies out there and find one that works for you. Leadership nor communication are innate skills. They can be learned. They can be honed over time with experience. So select someone who embodies the type of leader that you wish to be and learn to emulate their approaches. Leadership and communication aren't just for the high-ranking positions in your organization. No, your employees can also benefit from this kind of development. This will help create effective communication forms and eliminate conflict in communication styles and approaches. And remember, we are a diverse group of people, and each of us has a unique approach to living life. Encourage communication and feedback. Essentially, you are creating a change in your organization. And change management is an area that can be real difficult to navigate as people resist change naturally. Your organization is already operating on a fear-based level. So, opening communication and creating a positive feedback loop will help instill a sense of safety within your organization. And once you can tackle any negative pushback from employees and can once again gain their buy-in, then they will become your biggest supporters. We live in a very disruptive world where new technologies will always be the norm. When you understand the power of change management and how to successfully instill it within your organization, this too can help with any false narratives that you may have unintentionally created. Brand reputation will need to be a focus, and marketing campaigns are often utilized to show a change in the brand. So create messaging systems showing how your actions and your words match. People can spot inauthenticity simply by our actions and words not lining up. So be clear, be concise in your messages. And if you are uncertain when a question is asked of you, then just say so. Because giving a response, excellent question, let me consider this and get right back to you, and then doing so, that can be more powerful than trying to flub your way through. You see, you want to show that you will follow up on your word and that you are a credible source. And that is what people respond to. PR is often used to help salvage a brand's reputation. And if you have the means to do so, go ahead, invest in a good PR campaign. Again, only do this if your team can buy into the PR campaign that you want to launch. Now remember, restoring a tattered reputation may take time, but it's imperative to keep calm and assure that you are willing to make the situation right. Your brand matters because win or fail, how you handle any situation, good or bad, will resonate with people. When you operate with good intentions, people will sense that about you and they will help you and support you along the way. Remember, trust is earned. It's not given. You have to understand that trust once broken and that trust, was broken, and it will take individuals time to naturally reestablish trust in you again. You may not always be able to win over every person all the time. And don't worry, that's okay. It isn't a popularity contest. And you might lose some people, but you got to chalk it up to a lesson that you've learned in life and apply those lessons. You know, in the words of Brian Tracy, become the leader, become the kind of leader people would follow voluntarily, even if you had no title or position. Trust that once broken can be reestablished, and it means learning to operate from a higher sense of self and admitting that you were wrong. and that you were human and that you made a mistake. You know, mistakes happen. It's when the person committing the mistake isn't sorry that will cause people to disengage. False narratives can and do happen, whether intentionally or unintentionally. So own up to the situation and do your due diligence. It's a sign of authentic leadership and integrity. Now, I hope that you've enjoyed this session of Build Your Difference. I want you to remember that you are your brand just as much as you are your product or your service. Operating from this level will help you to build the success of your dreams. See you next time on Build Your Difference.